right, so here we are for section 2 of our travels through knowledge to find out the truth of our reality. And yesterday we talked about what we are not, that we are not the body or the mind or any particular thing, and that we are outside the flow of time as an observer. So today I've got 3 different quotes from Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj that are going to answer, well, who are we then? What are we? We know what we are not. What can we say about ourselves? The first one, he says, I am only the self, which is universal and imagines itself to be the outer self, a person. So we are a witness of consciousness, right? We are that which is watching our mind. That's how we can see our thoughts, and that's how we can use the apparatus of our mind, our brain, in order to function and to think. But we are the observer of it. We are not the thing itself. We are watching it much in the same way that you watch a movie. We're watching our eyes. We're watching our ears. We're using our nose. We're observing the senses of the body. So we are that self, that witness of consciousness, a pure awareness, all right? That our personality is not that. Our personality really is just a collection of limitations and restrictions that we have added to ourself. We are pure awareness, the witness of consciousness. The second thing that Sri Nisargadatta says is, I am not an object in consciousness, but its source, its witness, pure, shapeless awareness. All right? So we are not something within consciousness. We are the source of consciousness. The Vedas actually talk about us being sort of the light of consciousness, and everything that we're watching and experiencing in the body and the mind and the field of all the senses, the outer world as we've called it to ourselves, is actually a reflection of that consciousness shining out from us. And we see that in that slight reference that we made yesterday, where this moment actually is not within time. We measure it as it becomes part of memory or becomes part of the apparatus. But that it flows out, that it is an awareness, a consciousness, a manifestation of consciousness that happens spontaneously outside of time and gets caught in memory, gets caught in the mind, and then reflected back to us. All right? So you can see this, to understand it, instead of looking at it and going, oh my God, that's so weird. Think about why we have dreams. I think we have dreams in order to teach us these things. It gives us a concrete example of what the truth really is of our nature. In the dream, you're not the person in the dream, right? You could be a bug, you could be an angel, you could be just a point of reference in a dream. You adopt your dream body without any question whatsoever. It can be utterly different than your own body. And yet in the dream, you're perfectly comfortable being whatever you are and accepting whatever happens in the dream as being usual. And that funny thing about the dream is that when you sit and try and tell it as a linear story to your roommate the next morning, you realize, whoa, that sounds a lot weirder than it was as an experience. So you can see how malleable we are as an identity, that we can seamlessly slip into a dream world and a dream body and experience a physics and a world and a reality and a storyline that's completely other from our daily life, and yet accept it as real and our own while we are in the dream. So it's very simple, that in the dream, we obviously are not the dream body. We are obviously not in that dream world. And very much in the same way, in this world, we are not this body, and we are not this mind or this story. We are not any particular object in the dream. We are not the dream, right? Because you still exist when the dream is gone. You wake up and you're still here in yet another form, in yet another level of awareness. We are the source of that dream, and we are not a particular shape in that dream. We are also outside of that dream, watching it happen. And so you get that sense of the I that is just casually aware of everything and is able to take on an identity of its choosing, free. It can be a flying human being in a dream, and it can be a young woman in waking state. And so through that we can learn that we're not those things in particulars, that we are pure awareness, pure being. We are, according to the third verse or third teaching from Sri Nisargadatta, only the feeling I am. Right? Incidentally, isn't that interesting? In the Christian scripture, the name of God is I am. And so thou art that, according to the Hindus. You are the I am. You are only the feeling I am, though in the world is not of the world, nor can it be denied. So another interesting similarity to Christian scripture there, to live as if you are in the world but not of the world. That here we are in this dream, but we are not of this dream. We are beyond, we are outside, we are the observer of this dream. We are not part and parcel of it. So we are the pure I am, and there's no adjectives after that, just I am. Our problem is that personality that we love so much, that we identify with, I'm this dude and I like these kinds of things and I prefer these, that part of us that writes the dating app bio, that's delusional. That's not what we are. We can be anything, anywhere, anytime. And so that personality is just a list of limitations and restrictions, as we said just a moment ago. So this sense of being is the only thing that we can know that doesn't depend on anything else that needs to be known. All right? There's a good exercise for you. Sometimes sit in your shrine room or sit in silence somewhere in the woods maybe, and try and come up what is something that you know that does not require anything else that you know to make it true. All right, that's a good exercise. It'll take you some very interesting places. So try and come up with the one thing that you know that is not reliant on something else that you know. It's not relative. Descartes, the great philosopher, says, I think, therefore I am. Well, he sort of got it right. He knows the I am part, but it's not because he thinks, because he's not the one thinking. He is watching thinking happen. So he made one step too far in that. So I exist is the only thing you know that is not dependent on anything else. So you are that existence, that intelligence which gives meaning to mind and body and the sensory world around us. And you are being. You are pure awareness.